Are we on? All right, folks. This is the Open Mic Show. I'm Tim Coco, your host. Quite an exciting program tonight. We're going to go live. Chris didn't turn on my monitor, so I don't know what's going on television for those of you there. And the remote controls, of course, are away from me. But in any event, this is the Open Mic Show, more than a 50-year staple of democracy in the Merrimack Valley. Already seem to have lots of calls coming in, but we just give us a second to go to those. Just a reminder that this is the last week of April birthdays and anniversaries. The last week of April birthdays and anniversaries. So if you know someone having a birthday in April or a couple having an anniversary in April, simply call the Open Mic Show, wish them a happy birthday or happy anniversary, and they could win a free 7-inch cake from Albie D's second generation Italian Bakery, 140 South Main Street in Bradford. Okay, the Open Mic Show tonight. The Haverhill Democratic City Committee is having Immigration and Civil Rights Forum. If Chris could bring me my document from the printer. They're having a Civil Rights Forum with Boston City Councilor Josh Zakim. And Chris, there's a printer there, isn't there?
Yes, but there's nothing in it.
Well, can you just see why there's nothing there, like an OK button or something, or paper? All right, this is how live radio goes, folks. We start up and all kinds of things are awaiting us. But in any event, Boston City Councilor Josh Zakim is going to be speaking on this forum, Immigration and Civil Rights, and so is attorney, and I hope I have this name right, Zoila Gomez, who is a graduate of Northern Essex Community College and now has her own law firm. Gomez and Palumbo are going to be at this forum. Now, that doesn't begin until 7 o'clock, which is perfect for our guest spot. Now, the reason we're going live, Frank Camola will be live from Haverhill Public Library for this presentation. Others who would like to go, you may still have an opportunity to get there at the Haverhill Public Library, 99 Main Street, downtown Haverhill. Now, a commenter named Jack on WHAV.net suggested that perhaps those who cannot go and might have questions, and he suggested there may be some concerns of people who are opposed to some of the concepts. We don't know what concepts are being introduced just yet, but perhaps someone would like to have a question. I don't know how that will work, so we thought we'd just throw it open to the public on the Open Mic Show beginning at 7 o'clock. All right. Now, a few other items. There'll be some news items tomorrow that we may want to discuss tonight. There'll be some upcoming changes at the Haverhill Fire Department, and we can talk about some of those. And we'll also talk about current events. That there's a button that says OK. All right. I see people can write to me with a whiteboard, but I can't write to them with a whiteboard when that happens. But in any event, always confusing when we start the program with just about everything that can go wrong, going wrong, from cameras not working to Facebook not working to printers not working. I bet it's just like every day in this electronic age at your house, too. Maybe we'll talk about some of that. All right. Did you catch the funny banter between Haverhill Mayor James Fiorentini and Governor Baker on Facebook? Well, if you don't have a Facebook account, it's been on our newscasts all day today. It was just kind of a funny thing where on Facebook, if you're not familiar with it, you can tag, maybe someone wants to pick up the phone, you can tag someone and that person may or may not respond. Well, Mayor Fiorentini tagged the governor on Facebook, and because a photo by Noah Koretz, who's working as a fellow for the city of Haverhill on economic development issues, Noah Koretz, while in Los Angeles, took a photo of the Fiorentini and Baker shoe store. Well, Mayor Fiorentini couldn't resist, and he posted the picture and suggested that he and the governor were going into the shoe business. Well, the governor responded rather humorously. They didn't know that he and the mayor were creating a new fashion, but he chimed in, and a former Haverhill resident, Lou Carboni, suggested that maybe Fiorentini makes the left shoes and Baker makes the right, and the governor responded, "Good one, Lou." So just kind of funny, the lighter side of the news. Certainly much more serious news items. A Haverhill woman and a Sandown woman were both shot while sitting in their parked car in Lawrence Saturday night. And apparently the Haverhill woman was shot in the head. The Sandown woman was shot in the leg. The Haverhill woman was flown by helicopter to Boston, and the other woman was treated locally. And there's police in Lawrence suggested that it was not a random act. Certainly be something more that we want to follow on that. But I guess it is of growing concern. WHAV had a report during the week last week that suggested Haverhill is, considering its size and the city, this is not a negative thing, considering the size of the city and so on, it's 87% more crime than other parts of Massachusetts, but Lawrence is 94% more crime than other parts of Massachusetts. And in fact, on a national scale, Lawrence is one of the most dangerous cities in the country. And then we get this report about the shooting Saturday night. So certainly of concern. In any event, do we have calls?
Not yet.
Okay, well, the phone just rang constantly, but I guess no one wants to talk to me. So we'll see how that goes. One of the problems of doing the show on live camera is that I can't go and help other people with different things that are going wrong here, but we'll get to that. Now, we have a prize tonight, and I'm not quite sure how we're going to use it. And I bet Cindy, who's here, could help us with this. This is some type of, what would you call this, a selfie device?
Selfie stick.
A selfie stick. Mm-hmm. And we have this as a gift to give away tonight. I'm not quite sure how it works. And does that look right to you?
Yeah.
And it telescopes. So I'll tell you what, Cindy is going to demonstrate that for us, and we'll give that away for some reason. I have to figure out what it is a little bit later. Maybe we'll do a trivia question or something like that, and Cindy will take a look at that. All right. What is on your mind? Until we join the Haverhill Public Library broadcast a little after the news at 7 o'clock. Open lines for you here on the Open Mic Show. A long tradition, going back more than 50 years. Some of the more popular hosts, Bill Pike, Jack Bevilacqua, Lindsay Parker, all here on the Open Mic Show as hosts, and they've welcomed your calls over the years. So maybe you want to talk about those crime numbers. Maybe you want to talk about bipartisanship. The mayor and Governor Baker are certainly trying to talk about how a Democrat and a Republican can work together. And that is something we can work on. Okay. I think we're going to go right to the phones, see how we do with that. You are on the open mic.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I think they work together on the. It seems like they work together on this new health thing. It seems like the Republicans, some of them didn't want it.
Well, yeah, it's funny. They do it for different reasons, I guess.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning is. Maybe it's I mean, they do it together. So, but Anyway, I just wanted to throw it out there. I got a trivia question from Kimball Tavern, $10 gift certificate.
Oh, wow, another, and this is going to be what, another one of those 6-month stumpers?
Yeah, by the way, I heard you had a nice turnout from my neighbors. They told me you had a wonderful turnout down Maria's.
That's right. That was for the 70th anniversary of WHAV and the formal dedication of the new FM. Hey, you should have stopped by if you could have.
I would have. I was just tied up, but you know, I heard you had a nice turnout. But anyway, Kimball Tavern. If anybody's got any certificates, we're having a sale Friday and Saturday at Kimball Tavern.
All right.
We have a big sale Friday and Saturday. This weekend coming up.
All right. So, I mean, people who have won gift certificates on the open mic show.
Yeah, because we haven't been open a lot. But anybody, we're having a big sale. So anybody that's won and has got these gift certificates, I think, let's see, Doug, Jason might have one. Jason Picard. And a few other people out there. If you guys, if they hear me tonight, you guys come over, because a lot of times we haven't been open. But we're having a big sale Friday and Saturday. This coming up.
Now, is that kind of a spring kickoff for the store, or?
Well, yeah, a little bit. Well, we're just see, a lot of things are going on. So you know, it's kind of it's you know.
Well, I hope they're good things, or.
Yeah, a lot of good things are going on. But here's the trivia. You might know who this is. There was a man that lived up on Lowell Ave, and he headed towards it was just before you hit Washington Street. He lived up there, just Lowell Ave in Washington.
Okay, right.
He used to have hundreds of hubcaps. Do you remember him?
It sounds familiar, but...
Okay, you got to tell me. I gave Chris the answer. You got to tell me what his name was, and he had a nickname too. So
okay.
Who had all the hubcaps on the garage?
Okay, the name of the man and his nickname, or either?
Well, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, if somebody can come close, I'm a negotiable.
All right. So did he sell the hubcaps, or is that... I'm not supposed to give too many details away.
Well, he could have sold them, but he collected them. He found them on the side of the road, and he just collected them and had them on his house. I suppose if you drove by and you wanted to buy one, he would have sold it to you.
Oh, okay. All right. So here's the question. So
you remember that?
It sounds vaguely familiar.
If you saw the house, you'd say. If you saw the hubcaps, you'd say, "Oh yeah, they were there for years."
Well, I'm just thinking, but this was Lowell Avenue. I don't know, there used to be a couple of people that had, like, ongoing yard sales on Lowell Avenue, but I don't know if that may not be the same one.
A couple houses before Washington Street.
All right, so in order to win a $10 gift certificate to Kimball Tavern Antiques, name the man who had hundreds of hubcaps.
That's right.
And his nickname.
That's right. Everybody knew him. If I said his name, right now you'd say, "Oh, of course I know." I don't know if you know his real name, but you know his nickname. You know it.
All right.
Anyway, how you been? All right.
Oh, pretty good. A lot of things going on, getting the new FM dedication out there, and of course we had great talent from Haverhill High School Chorus. Who presented 3 live performances. We also had Latria Masters singing the national anthem, which is the way all radio stations should start their day. WHAV does every morning at 6. Although it's on 24 hours a day, we still stop everything at 6 o'clock and do the national anthem.
6 in the morning.
That's right.
Yeah, I hear it on the way to work.
Oh, do you? Well, great.
I'm going to work. I got it on.
Well, that's what everyone should do. You listen to the local news and the weather, do you?
Oh, yeah.
All
I
right.
wish my buddy a happy birthday, too.
Oh, actually, does Chris have this in?
No, I didn't give it to Chris. But his name is Richard Cranton, one of the Crantons.
All right, so we have a birthday wish for Richard. I'll have Chris write that down.
Yeah, he's going to be 71 on April 12th.
Okay, April 12th, Richard.
Cranton.
Okay, well, I don't,
One of the Crantons.
he doesn't mind. So this,
You could
Well, I'm assuming it's the same family. The Crantons are related to David Goudsward.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
This
Richard's family was from Bradford, but he's related to Hartley. But Richard,
that branch of the family. Okay.
You know, Hartley and Joan.
Right. Yes.
A
Okay.
lot of Crantons came from. They're buried in Groveland, Riverview Cemetery. They're buried in Elmwood Cemetery, probably St. James Cemetery. And most of those Crantons were related. Cranton Oil.
That's right. That's right.
And there was a farm. Richard said it was a farm on Cranton Ave in Groveland. It's just after the cemetery.
Well, I'm just wondering if there's and I should know this, and I might have it one time and have forgotten, but there was a Calvin Cranton on Forest Street.
That's right, Calvin, yeah. His son is, I see his son taking care of the church up there.
Okay,
a lot of work for the church.
See, Haverhill's a small town, despite what people think.
Well, they just had a nice show on with old Bonnie Gallagher and an old one before you with Bob Gablowski about Bernard Parish.
Oh, okay.
When I'm 64.
Oh, yes, on Jay Cleary's great program.
Yeah, my brother Buddy was on a couple of weeks ago with the Walnut Square. They did a thing on the second grade at Walnut Square School. He does some good shows.
All right, I'll tell you what. We're going to give away on the open mic show tonight. Now, those of you watching on television can see it. It is Cindy, what do you call this again? A selfie stick?
What is it?
It's a selfie stick. So it's for those people who just can't resist taking pictures of themselves, but usually they're too close. You attach your camera phone to this stick, and then you hold it away from yourself, and apparently has a little remote control button, and you can take a picture of yourself. And now this comes in handy when you're taking pictures with a group. Now, I don't know what we're going to do for I don't know, we'll do a trivia question, or we're going to do the, X caller question. Maybe we'll hear suggestions. Maybe the best suggestion for giving it away should come from...
Would you pick that up?
Believe it or not, it was at a trade show, so you'll even see that it's branded by Oracle.
Wow.
And but it's pretty high. Well, I don't know. Cindy's the photography expert. Maybe she can tell us. Is this a high quality thing or just a cheapy thing?
How about Jack? You heard from him?
She says what, high quality? And it's a high quality one. Jack, I occasionally get a comment from him on my messages on my phone or an email, but I don't have too much. Matter of fact, I think it might have just been a mailing error, but we'd mailed Jack the invitation to the dedication of WHAV-FM, and it came back.
It did.
Which is odd, so we're going to follow up and find out. I just think that was a mailing error. I think the print was too light or something, and the postal, automatic readers couldn't read the address or something.
I got a card here. Here it is. Let me see what is this it? Oh yeah, Jack Bevilacqua, East West Collectibles.
Oh.
Well, he's in the collectibles, He likes old bottles, old beer bottles. He comes over the tavern and to see what we got over there. President Jack Bevilacqua.
All right.
Collectibles.
Now, I don't know if, so let's see, usually your grandchildren cut away at 7 o'clock, is that right?
That's right, in Sandown, yeah.
That you think they're listening? Why don't you do a shout out to them?
Hi, Cody, Kyle, yeah, they usually listen up until 7.
All right. Of course, not too long ago, they had to only use their TV, but now they can listen in on radio, 97.9 FM.
Yeah, it's tough to get it up. It doesn't come in too good up there.
Yeah, that's a little far in that direction. Our signal is mostly easterly.
A lot of trees.
Yes, so we'll see how that goes. But our signal is I was driving around yesterday. Matter of fact, have you been? I have to admit, I hadn't been there since it was Bickford's in Salem, New Hampshire, but now it's Mary Ann's Diner.
Oh yeah, they got great sandwiches.
Well, what I was surprised at is just the level of detail they went through to convert that into kind of a 50s retro diner.
Well, that's the one that's in Derry, where all the politicians, it's just, those people own it. The one up in Derry, they go, a lot of the politicians stop there during elections.
Yeah, I hadn't been to that one. I'll have to check that out.
Then there's another one in, I believe it's Windham.
Oh, all right. I guess maybe it's more popular north of the border for some reason, but I really like the retro layout.
They've got some nice breakfast sandwiches there.
The front of an Oldsmobile sticking out of the wall, that kind of thing.
Nice. Who's coming? You got anybody coming on today live?
Okay, well, at 7 o'clock, or after the news at 7, we're going to switch to Frank Kamola, who is at the Haverhill Public Library, and he is going to bring us some of the forum tonight called Immigration and Civil Rights, sponsored by the Haverhill Democratic City Committee. Now, what I don't know, I guess that's what listeners will want to find out, is this simply advice for going through the immigration process, or is this legal questions from the audience? I don't know the answer.
One other thing, you had Mark on there the day you guys had your 70th anniversary. He was just jockeying for the day, or a couple hours, or what was that all about?
Well, we needed, Mark was a trooper because everyone else was at the party downtown.
Yeah, I heard him on the radio.
But we needed someone live at the studio, and Mark volunteered just to make sure. But Mark is such a professional that he came in early and stayed late, and was disc jockeying, and we got some nice comments. And if we could, we're going to do more of that. More shifts. We'll have, live disc jockeys taking requests and answering listener questions. We're doing more of that. The problem is that, we did a major fundraiser to build a new FM. We raised about 10% of what we needed through that fundraiser. So, of course, the rest had to be borrowed. And now we need to really pay off that debt before we can put more money into programs. So
I heard you're going to might have a sports show on there.
Well, that's right. We'd like to bring Joe Edwards on.
He knows he's pretty good.
He knows his stuff, and Joe also might be contributing to a future morning program with trivia about this day in local history, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting.
So we have more, and I think it's safe for me to say this. We might actually have WHAV's greatest DJ of all time live for at least a short time this summer, Tom Bergeron.
Wow.
He's been talking with us about coming back and doing an air shift for old time's sake. I think that's going to be a lot of fun to have Tom Bergeron back live on WHAV. We no longer spin the discs, we spin the hard drives, but it's similar.
Wow, that'd be interesting to have Tom up here, yeah.
All right. Well, anyway,
so I'll let you go, and that's the trivia. If you give me that one, and we're open. Kimball Tavern Antiques will be open Friday and Saturday, and we've got some great sales going on.
Okay, all right. So the trivia question again. There was a man who lived on Lowell Avenue just before Washington Street.
Right.
He had hundreds of hubcaps. He collected them and had them on his house. Name the man and his nickname, and you could win a $10 gift certificate to Kimball Tavern Antiques, corner of Salem and South Main Streets in Bradford.
Well, he collected them because they flew off in his front yard.
Was there the potholes over there?
Oh, yeah, they flew right off. That's where we got them. I said, where'd you get all these? He said, what do you think? All these cars coming by.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Well, thank you very much for your generosity.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. All right. I don't know. Do we have time to do a... yeah, let's try to squeeze in, and we'll just come back for a minute. Let's try to squeeze in what is scheduled. Okay, Civil Liberties Minute. We're a little late going into that. When we come back, we'll wrap up the half hour and get ready for a live broadcast from Haverhill Public Library as part of the Open Mic Show on immigration and civil rights. We'll be right back.
Open Mic!
Tim Coco and the Open Mic will be right back. Get in on the action.
Call 978-374-1900 or email tcoco@whav.net. If you are enjoying this program, please consider making a donation right now. Your donations to not-for-profit WHAV help keep these vital community services on the air. Donate online at www.whav.net.
97.9 FM, WHAV.
Catch the wave!
Every Monday night, the Open Mic Show brings you fascinating guests, explores local history, and gives you a chance to praise the powers that be or vent your frustrations. I'm Tim Coco, your host, inviting you to join the chorus of community voices beginning at 6:30 Monday nights right here on 97.9 WHAV. You may also watch this staple of democracy live at whav.tv.
Will your right to protest survive 2017? I'm Bill Newman, and this is the Civil Liberties Minute. In Tennessee, a state rep has introduced legislation that would relieve motorists of any liability when the driver of a car accidentally hits someone who is deliberately blocking a street. In Iowa, after 100 anti-Trump protesters closed Interstate 80, a bill was introduced making such protest a felony, carrying a 5-year prison sentence and a $7,500 fine. There's a similar proposal in Mississippi. And in Minnesota, a proposal to allow cities to sue demonstrators who are part of a demonstration where someone violates the law at the protest. North Carolina perhaps takes the cake with the proposal to make it illegal to threaten, intimidate, or retaliate against state officials. That's an anti-heckling proposal. In some 16 states have proposals pending to make demonstrations less likely and more likely to scare people into not using their right to protest. But protest is at the heart of American freedom. That's why it's enshrined in the First Amendment, with its guarantee of freedom of speech and assembly and the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. How many of these bills currently pending will pass is not clear. What is clear is that the threat to anyone's freedom of speech is a threat to everyone's. The Civil Liberties Minute is made possible by the ACLU because freedom can't protect itself. It needs you.
Catch the wave! WHAV! Open mic!
From the Edwin B. Johnson Newsroom, WHAV presents the Open Mic Show with Tim Coco. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900. Or email tcoco@whav.net.
Okay, we're back on the Open Mic Show just for a minute here. We're going to go after the local news, going to go to the Haverhill Public Library. We'll have a report from WHAV correspondent Frank Kamoa and see how much we can pick up on the Immigration and Civil Rights Forum. A writer at WHAV's website comment section, Jack, had suggested perhaps we'll see if there's room for remarks, pro or con, depending on what the subjects are. And we thought, well, let's make it easier for everybody. Let's bring you that broadcast as the best we can. It'll be featuring Boston City Councilor Josh Zakim. Yes, you recognize the name. Family member Zakim Bridge is named for. And then attorney Zoila, if I'm pronouncing that right, Gomez. She's a graduate of Northern Essex Community College, now has her own law firm, Gomez and Palumbo. She's going to be the other speaker. We're going to join them as soon as we can. Keep in mind two or three contests here. To win a free birthday cake or anniversary cake, just nominate someone whose birthday is in April. We're going to do the drawing about 8:15 tonight. And those cakes, choice of vanilla or chocolate, 7-inch cake, comes from Albidee's second-generation Italian bakery, 140 South Main Street. Also have a trivia question to win a $10 gift certificate to Kimball Tavern Antiques. All you have to do is name the man who lived on Lowell Avenue just before Washington Street, who had hundreds of hubcaps. Name the man and his nickname. Be the first to do that, and you could win a $10 gift certificate to Kimball Tavern Antiques, corner of Salem and South Main Streets. Let's go to local news. We'll be back with the Immigration and Civil Rights Forum after that.
Open mic.
Tim Coco and the Open Mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900 or email tcoco@whav.net. If you are enjoying this program, please consider making a donation right now. Your donations to not-for-profit WHAV help keep these vital community services on the air. Donate online at www.whav.net.
It's 7:02.
WHAV LP Haverhill.
Here's what's happening in local news. Haverhill Police Officer Guy Cooper was among those honored Friday night during the Valley Patriot newspaper's 13th annual bash. Cooper, accompanied by Haverhill Police Chief Alan Denaro, received the Officer Tom Duggan Sr. Law Enforcement Award for helping to save a woman who jumped into the Merrimack River last November. During the award presentation, Essex County Sheriff Kevin Coppinger read from Denaro's report of a woman who jumped into the river. Observing the difficulty facing Harbor Master Michael Vetz, Officer Cooper waded into the frigid waters to assist with getting the victim on the boat and ultimately back on shore and into an awaiting ambulance. During an appearance before the Haverhill City Council last December, Denaro praised Cooper and Vetz.
The officers acted as we would want them to act, as we want them to protect us and to be there, and they were. And especially when it comes to going into the Merrimack in the middle of November, I call that above and beyond. And you know, I'm very proud and I'm impressed with the actions of both of these individuals, and I felt that it merited notifying the public as well as this council of the caliber of people that we have that protect us, serve us, and are out there guarding us on a daily basis.
Methuen Fire Chief Timothy Sheehy was also presented with an award for his work helping families displaced by fire last Christmas. In one instance, out of many stories, Sheehy drove a victim to a shopping center to buy shoes. The awards are named in honor of Lawrence Police Officer Duggan, who died in the line of duty March 16, 1990, 3 days after being attacked by two men, one of whom struck him with a metal softball bat. He was 47 years old. Duggan was the father of Valley Patriot publisher Tom Duggan. Governor Charlie Baker and Haverhill Mayor James Fiorentini traded jokes Friday about going into the shoe business together. The live social media discussion was prompted by a photograph taken by the city's Transformative Development Initiative fellow Noah Koretz. The photograph showed the Fiorentini and Baker shoe store in Los Angeles. In the spirit of bipartisanship, Governor Baker and I have decided to open a new business, Fiorentini joked in a Facebook post using Koretz's photograph. To the mayor's surprise, Baker quickly responded, "This is really something. I had no idea the mayor and I were in the fashion business." Following the live chat, Fiorentini told WHAV he didn't expect the governor's response. "It was good humor and good to see. Government needs more of that," the mayor said. He added, "When you put aside your differences and look for common solutions, lighten up and laugh, amazing things are possible. I hope Washington is listening." The banter between the Republican governor and Democratic mayor wasn't lost on resident Lou Carboni. He joined the chat joking, "Fiorentini makes the left shoes, Baker the right." The governor responded, "Good one, Lou." Two women, a 19-year-old from Haverhill and a 20-year-old from Sandown, New Hampshire, are listed in stable condition with serious injuries after a drive-by shooting in Lawrence late Saturday night. The victims, who had not been identified as of news deadline, were struck while sitting in a parked car on Berkeley Street in Lawrence. They fled to a commercial building on Swan Street, Methuen, following the 10:43 p.m. shooting. The Haverhill woman was shot once in the head and airlifted to a Boston hospital, while the other was shot in the leg and taken to a local hospital by ambulance, according to Lawrence Police Chief James Fitzpatrick. Police said a man wearing a ski mask and gray hooded sweatshirt and driving a silver BMW four-door sedan pulled up to a parked car and opened fire. Detectives do not consider the incident a random act of violence. Methuen police responded once the woman entered that city. Anyone with information or witnessed anything suspicious in the area at the time of the shooting are asked to call Lawrence Police at 978-794-5900. Remember, WHAV is the only Haverhill-based news source. There's always more at WHAV.net. In the Edwin B. Johnson newsroom, this is Tim Coco.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Rebecca Foster. Over 120 countries are getting together at the United Nations for the first ever talks aimed at a global ban on nuclear weapons. The conference comes even as most of the world's declared and undeclared nuclear powers voted against the talks, saying they cannot put nuclear deterrence in jeopardy. Our United Nations correspondent Lorna Shattuck reports.
The countries leading the talks include Mexico, Brazil, South Africa and Sweden, along with hundreds of NGOs. They point to the success of negotiations to ban landmines in 1997 and cluster munitions in 2008, saying such international efforts do bear fruit and bring moral pressure to bear even on those who don't sign up. Britain, France, Israel, Russia, Japan and the US voted against the talks, while China, India and Pakistan abstained. US Ambassador Nikki Haley said such a treaty would empower rogue states like North Korea.
We have to be realistic. Is there anyone that believes that North Korea would agree to a ban on nuclear weapons?
The first phase of the talks ends in July. Lorna Shattuck, New York.
A court in Moscow has sentenced Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny to 15 days in prison, saying he disobeyed a police officer during an anti-government protest. Mr. Navalny was also fined about $350 earlier on Monday for his role in organizing the protest, which authorities said was illegal. A U.S.-backed force of Kurdish and Arab fighters has taken control of an airbase west of the city of Raqqa, Syria, a stronghold of the so-called Islamic State. They've reportedly said they'll pause military operations near a major dam in the area in order to allow engineers to fix any problems amid concerns about its stability and potential flooding. Apple has won a patent battle in China, meaning it will not be banned from selling iPhones in the country. Chinese company Bailey had argued the American tech giant had copied its design. Our U.S. correspondent Nick Harper reports.
The court's decision overturns an earlier ruling against Apple that would have meant a complete ban on it selling its iPhone 6. Bailey had filed a case with China's patent regulator, saying that Apple's iconic phone had borrowed design elements of its own 100C smartphone. However, a court has reversed that decision, saying Apple's iPhone 6 has not infringed on Bailey's design. The court, though, denied a counter-motion by Apple to punish the Chinese company by taking away its 100C patent. Apple is battling fierce competition from homegrown brands in China, especially from the likes of Huawei and Xiaomi. Nick Harper, New York.
For more on the day's top stories, you can follow us on Twitter at Feature Story. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Wave weather.
I'm WHAV meteorologist Gary Bess with wave weather. Mostly cloudy skies will continue across the Merrimack Valley through the night as any showers exit. Low temperatures upper 30s. More showers return Tuesday, 45 to 50. Showers end again Tuesday evening. Wednesday, a mix of clouds and sun, breezy. High temperatures near 50. This is Gary Bess. Your next wave weather coming up in 30 minutes.
For more in-depth coverage of the news, visit WHAV's website at WHAV.net.
WHAV, Merrimack Valley, open mic.
From the Edwin B. Johnson Newsroom, WHAV presents the Open Mic Show with Tim Coco. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900. Or email tcoco@whav.net.
Okay, things are a little bit slow at Haverhill Public Library setting up for this forum, Immigration and Civil Rights. We also think we have one dead phone line, so we're working around that. But until we do that, why don't we go to a longtime safety advisor for the Open Mic Show, Safety Advisor Dave. You are on the air.
Hey, how you doing, Tim?
Well, long time no hear. How are you?
No, long time no see. Hey, listen, they were up on the ice there a couple of days ago. It was only like 3 inches of ice up on Plug's Pond.
There were people up there?
About 3 inches of ice up on Plug's Pond. They were fishing there.
Oh, okay.
And the warden was up there, and I'm surprised she didn't tell them to get off the ice.
Oh, okay. So this was certainly something worrisome to you.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So they were ice fishing on Plug Pond.
Right. And the hubcap man's nickname was Geezer.
Oh,
Am I right or
oh,
wrong?
I don't know. Is it? See, Chris doesn't give me the stuff I need to be on the air with.
Okay,
so,
I don't know the other half of it, but anyways, I want to discuss a little bit with you about the fishing.
Okay, did you say geezer?
Geezer, yes.
All right, well, I'm allowed some room, but we also need the man's name. Do you know that?
I don't know his name, so that's out of the question.
Well, no,
Well,
you're going to help someone move closer to that. All right.
All right. But Plug's Pond, they don't allow fishing with sinkers now, right? Lead sinkers. And most ponds right now, right?
Yes.
But they want to use it. They want to use lead sinkers for the Merrimack River, and they want to turn that into drinking water. What is up with that?
All right, so you're saying lead sinkers, obviously because of what the possibility of lead leaching into the water, is not allowed at Plug Pond.
Right, pond.
Which is not a drinking water supply, as far as I know. Round
Right.
Pond, I think, is a backup.
Yeah.
And you're saying, but it is going to be allowed, or is allowed in the Merrimack River?
Yes.
Now, who runs that? The Army Corps of Engineers? Who? EPA? Who makes those decisions for the Merrimack River? Do you know?
I would think that the game wards in them. I don't know, the state.
All right, so you think that's a good question. That's a really good question. And I
Because
bet Jerry, our environmental consultant in Methuen, knows the answer. And maybe he'll call in with that.
Yeah, well, hopefully, and I hope that they make some improvements at Plug's Pond this year. It really needs it. If you look at the shed up there, it's tearing down, it's falling down. What is the matter with this town?
No, so you're saying, well, I know the city councilors are looking at putting together a list of things that need to be done as they enter the budget session, so why don't we make a note of this? Specifically, you're talking about what, the bathhouse at Plug Pond?
Yeah, the bathhouse, the outside house where the boat thing is, where they keep the boats, they're falling apart.
Okay, the bathhouse and boathouse at Plug Pond. I know city councilors listen to the program.
And they have the dogs going up there, and they're using the place as a bathroom. I mean, come on.
All right, so people aren't cleaning up after the dogs?
No.
Do they have signs? They're signs, right?
There's signs, but they disobey them. What's the people of Haverhill doing about this?
Oh, I don't know. So what do we have? We have conservation officers maybe who could enforce that? I don't know. I don't know how many we have.
And they're trashing the place,
Okay, what do you mean by trashing? Mean the dogs or
the barrels
vandalism?
tipped over, the barrels overfull.
Barrels are overflowing.
Yeah, lack of picking them up and dumping them out.
Barrels overflowing, and you say some people knock them over too?
Yeah, and I still see down by where Friends Landing is, the contractor's tipped over a light, and it's laying right there in the parking lot when the wires are hanging out with it. What is up with that too?
Lights knocked down.
I hope the mayor's listening to this.
Is that a city street light?
No, it's a parking lot light, but it could have live wires for all I know.
Okay, parking lot on Water Street, where Captain Chris used to be, Friends Landing, and I think there's something in between. Chestnuts, I think it was. I'm surprised I remembered that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And
Well, listen,
also-
we got a list for people to take care of here.
And also, when they put up the Como Bridge, they never raised a fence up high enough. I mean, a kid could easily jump up and into the river.
Okay, Como Bridge.
They should have a gate a little bit higher up
Fencing gate not high enough. Okay.
for safety.
Now, okay, I would think that's under state control, but I don't know that.
I know it is under state control. You're exactly right, but something somewhere along the line should be done about all this stuff.
All right, so we'll see how that. Okay, we got a long list here. I think we're going to ask. Are there any city councilors listening out there? What about some of these issues? Your budget time is coming up, and Safety Officer Dave here on the Open Mic Show has identified a few things. The bathhouse, the boathouse at Plug Pond both need attention. People aren't cleaning up. Do we have enough conservation officers, perhaps? How else can we enforce this? Barrels
Their
are
dogs running loose.
Trash barrels are overflowing and being knocked over. Do we pick them up often enough? And are we watching the place? Those are good questions. And then switching to downtown Haverhill, there's a parking lot knocked down on private property. The former Captain Chris or the Chestnuts or Friends Landing, whichever you prefer. Is there any danger there? Perhaps a building inspector could take a look, or a wiring inspector.
I would suggest that he does. And thank you very much, Tim.
Oh, no, these are good questions. And last but not least, maybe we should look at whether or not the sides of Como Bridge are high enough
That's a definite thing.
to protect children who might be climbing over there.
Right.
Okay.
Because they come from the stadium and they go across the bridge, and it's in my opinion, it's very dangerous. You know, kids try to climb up on there and walk on it and whatnot.
Okay, no, these are excellent points. Let's maybe a city councilor or the mayor or someone in a position of authority wants to call the Open Mic Show tonight and explain what's happening with that.
I hope they're listening, and I thank you very much for putting the handicap parking places down at the stadium. I got that done.
That's right.
And,
Safety Officer Dave gets results.
That's right. That's what we're here for, to get results.
All right. Thank you very
Tim,
much.
you take care of yourself, and tell Chris, take care. I appreciate talking to you guys.
All right, great. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate your work. Thank you.
Always nice.
All right, take care.
All right, bye.
All right. Why don't we take a brief break for Community Spotlight? We'll check in at Haverhill Public Library and see what's happening down there. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Open mic.
Tim Coco and the Open Mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900 or email tcoco@whav.net. If you are enjoying this program, please consider making a donation right now. Your donations to not-for-profit WHAV help keep these vital community services on the air. Donate online at www.whav.net.
Those Boston stations don't always understand weather in the Merrimack Valley. Stay informed with Wave Weather every 30 minutes, 24 hours a day on Soft Gold WHAV.
If you're looking not only to make money, but also to make a difference, 97.9 WHAV wants you. WHAV, the only Haverhill-based news source, seeks enthusiastic, creative, and disciplined on-air underwriting and web advertising representatives. Account executives are responsible for developing and supporting WHAV's radio, digital, and non-traditional sales and development strategy. Prior sales experience is desired, but some training will be provided. Receive a generous and above-average commission rate and opportunities for growth. To apply, visit WHAV.net and click Contact and scroll down to Jobs. Otherwise, call 978-374-2111, extension 111. That's 978-374-2111, extension 111. Make money and make a difference at 97.9 WHAV.
Community Spotlight.
On April 22nd, Historic New England, in partnership with the Rocks Village Memorial Association, will lead a walking tour of the historic Rocks Village neighborhood of Haverhill. Tales of merchants and shipbuilders are among stories to be told of the area that was once home to a bustling community settled in the late 17th century. 1-hour tours start at 10:30 a.m. and 1 p.m. Tours begin at the Hand Tub House, located at the corner of River Road and East Main Street. Parking is available at 366 Amesbury Line Road. The cost is $10 per person. Call 617-994-5970 for more information. Someone you know is on WHAV. To submit or read your own nonprofit announcements, click on the Contact tab at WHAV.net or email news@WHAV.net. In the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, this is Frank Camola.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, WHAV presents the Open Mic Show with Tim Coco. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900. Or email tcoco@whav.net.
Welcome back to the Open Mic Show. I'm your host, Tim Coco. Chris Porter and Cindy Driver are in master control. By the way, speaking of Cindy, did you see the great photographs on WHAV.net? One of them is Haverhill Police Officer Cooper receiving, thank you very much, receiving an award Friday night. The officer Tommy Duggan Sr. Public Safety Award at the Valley Patriots 13th Annual Bash Friday night. And Officer Cooper was one who received the award. Another was Methuen Fire Chief Tim Sheehy. And it was a pretty solemn event. And I guess one of the things I'll point out about it, there was, I think it's called the last call or final call ceremony, and it was discovered in Lawrence police records that a Lawrence police officer died in the line of duty in 1950 and had never been recognized. And so they did by radio, a radio call to him, and did not receive the response, and they did the repeat, and it was a very, very moving. There were many teary eyes in the audience at the event, which took place at the Reliefs Inn in Lawrence. And Haverhill Police Chief Alan DeNiro was in attendance, and it was the Officer Tom Duggan Sr. Law Enforcement Award. If you're not familiar, Tom Duggan Sr. was a Lawrence police officer killed in the line of duty in 1990. He was 47 years old, was struck by assailants with a metal softball bat. And his son is the publisher of the Valley Patriot, Tom Duggan, and Cindy Driver took most of the major photographs at that event Friday night. And so we used one today, and there's a story at WHAV.net, although you may have also heard it on the news, about the Haverhill police officer, Guy Cooper, who had been given the award for helping to rescue a woman in the Merrimack River this past November. Okay, so am I allowed to go to the phones or what? All right, so we're going to go to our live remote at Haverhill Public Library, where WHAV's Frank Camola is standing by. Anything you can tell us, Frank, about the setup and movement of this event?
Well, we've got 4 speakers here tonight.
Sure. Okay. Are they starting already?
Yeah, they are. He's asking me to keep my voice down.
All right. Well, let's bring our microphone to who's ever speaking, and we'll pick it up from there.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. All right. While we're doing that, Chris is going to put images on for our TV viewers of the two principal speakers, and you'll be able to see either Josh Zakim, Boston City Councilor, who's speaking here in Haverhill tonight, or attorney Zoila Gomez, and then we'll rotate those back and forth.
Dedicated her time to advocate for and educate these.
Okay, I think we're hearing the chairman of the Democratic City Committee in Haverhill, Bill Cox. I don't know if Chris can give us some gain. Let's break away and hear what he's saying.
Al son de la manana, okay? Which is Mondays through Fridays in WGUA's Radio Católica. In the fall of 2011, she returned to Northern Essex as a professor of immigration law and policy and feels passionate about giving back to the school that she graduated from. She is also the board chair of the Youth Development Organization, nonprofit organization, which seeks to engage students in after-school programs to enhance their ability to compete and have the confidence to survive in the world outside the walls of Lawrence. She's a member of the Board of Trustees, the Lawrence Evangelical Church, where she celebrates her faith, along with her sons Christopher and Carla. He is a former member of the UMass Board of Trustees, which she was appointed by Governor Deval Patrick, and most recently she was appointed by Governor Charlie Baker to the Judicial Nominating Commission and is currently serving in that capacity. So let's give Attorney Gomez a warm welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. It's great to be here in Haverhill with you guys. And thanks for the invitation of my former teacher, Jane. Jane is awesome. She always reminds me of the story of when I was in her class and I read Gabriel Garcia Marquez's book in English, a 500-page book, all in English. I had been in the country for about a year and 3 months. But I challenged myself to learn the language. It was something that I wanted to do when I set foot in this country. It was the most important thing, and I was going to learn it at all costs. So I'm an immigration attorney. And as an immigration attorney, I hear the cries of the immigrants every day. And for me, being an immigrant and representing them, it's very important that people really understand the story of the immigrants. It's not the rhetoric that you hear in some news channels or the administration, the current administration. Yes, there are immigrants that come to this country and are up to no good. But that is a very, very small minority. If you look at the numbers, you will understand how small is the amount of people who actually come to this country and are not productive members of society. And as we know, and as my colleague has mentioned, it's so important for immigrants to feel safe in the community that they live in. And for us as citizens and to understand how people should be treated in a community, we need to stand up for their rights because they don't always know how to stand up for themselves or speak for themselves. So it is very important. What we're doing here today, I think it's great. It speaks a great deal of communities like this in helping to advance the message that we all need to protect those who cannot protect themselves. So the cries of the people that I represent right now, people are in fear, living in tremendous fear. They if you have a forum like this and it's meant for people to come and learn about their rights, they won't come. And I've had already a few forums and very few people actually show up. And I asked myself why. Last time that I had a forum, this was about 2 years ago, it was to talk about DAPA. And I don't know if you guys remember when President Obama wanted to grant work permits to parents of United States citizen children or local permanent resident children who had been in the United States more than 5 years and who didn't have any criminal history and were productive members of society. that was unfortunately struck down, and it wasn't, it didn't survive. But I had a forum, and about 200 people showed up, and we only sort of announced it to the community for a week. 200 people showed up. I have a forum like this today, and maybe 10 people, because they are so afraid. They are afraid to go to their grocery store. They are afraid to go shopping. They're afraid to speak. You know what I mean? They feel like, oh my God, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to be deported? And not only, the rumors are so bad that even people who were born in this country are being told that if you travel outside of the United States, your citizenship is going to be taken away from you. Really? I had to say to my friend who called me the other day, I'm like, are you kidding me? You were born in Lawrence. Who do you think can take your citizenship away from you? You know what I mean? The only way to lose your citizenship is if you committed treason, and that is a pretty high crime. So it's just unheard of. I've been in this country for 29 years, and I've never seen the things that you can see or hear in the years that I've been in this country. It is so sad. It is very, very sad. So my call to you is, in the light of what's happening, we really have to organize against this types of rhetoric. We really have to continue to let people know and understand that we're not going to allow people to be mistreated only because they enter the United States illegally. If you committed crimes, I understand that there are laws there to punish you for the crimes that you've committed. And if the immigration laws are also going to punish you for those crimes, then nobody disagrees that you should be placed in normal proceedings and deported from this country. But we shouldn't keep people in so much fear only because they enter the United States illegally. They also have rights to representation. They have rights to be a judge. They have rights to at least be heard in this country. And their children have rights, especially those children that were born in this country, that their parents be treated with some respect and that their rights not be trampled upon. So I really call you upon communities like this to continue to stand against this type of behavior from our government and to protect those who are less fortunate. I think it's terrible. For example, what's happening in our neighboring state of New Hampshire, how people are being detained merely because, the color of their skin and stuff while dark, and immediately ask for papers. Immediately, the police in New Hampshire, as opposed to the police actions in Massachusetts, they haven't started doing this in Massachusetts, thankfully. They haven't had the first person call me and tell me that they have been stopped by the Massachusetts police and be asked for documentation when they're stopped and called immigration. That none of my clients has happened to yet in Massachusetts. But in New Hampshire, you have one? Oh, go ahead. Well, it isn't, but who's organizing against it? I don't know that anybody is in New Hampshire. It's not legal. It is, as you know, a racial discrimination because people are being stopped and only. Well, they don't say that it's because the person is brown. They say that it's because the person was driving without a license. But how do they know that the person was driving without a license until the stop happened? So in order for the stop to happen, something must have triggered the stop. So they are justifying the stop based on whatever reason. But once the person is stopped, they immediately ask for papers. When the person says, I don't have a driver's license, they immediately assume that the person is undocumented and call immigration. So right now, in the last 3 weeks, I want to say, I represented at least 10 individuals on bond hearings with the immigration court, all stopped and arrested in New Hampshire, only because they're undocumented. No criminal history, no prior encounters with immigration, no issues. Thankfully, the immigration court is there as a resource for those who can afford a lawyer to request a bond. But 40% of the people who are arrested by immigration, only 40% of the people are represented by a lawyer. What happens with that 60%? That 60% of people are people who cannot afford a lawyer, people who may not have a family member to call a lawyer for them, people who may not have any connection to anybody who can help them. So we have about 60% of the people who don't have the ability to hire an attorney or anybody to connect them with legal representation. So if I have represented 10 people, my office alone has represented 10 people, can you imagine the amount of people who are being detained? I mean, one attorney. This is one attorney. There are many immigration attorneys in the area. So if you calculate that by the amount of attorneys in the area, and at the end of 3 weeks, 10 people just because they're undocumented, this is happening a lot in New Hampshire. So when people ask me what they should be doing, I think that if you know people who are connected in New Hampshire, I think that we need to figure out how we can help organize those communities to say this should not be allowed in our state. This should not be something that we allow to continue to happen against people in our state merely because they're undocumented and because they're people of color. I don't know if this is the time for questions. If you guys have specific questions about specific issues, I think we're going to take questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Just so that all of you know and our speakers know, this event is being broadcast live to WHAV, which is Haverhill FM radio station. So we just want to make that clear to everybody. So because of that, what we want to try to do is we want to try to get your not just questions, but also comments, points of interest. We want to have as much of a discussion as we can. And we have two great...
The open mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900 or email tcoco@whav.net. If you are enjoying this program, please consider making a donation right now. Your donations to not-for-profit WHAV help keep these vital community services on the air. Donate online at www.whav.net.
It's 7:39.
97.9 WHAV is the only FM station assigned to the City of Haverhill. Your membership is critical to continued operation. It's easy to join. Just click on the membership tab at whav.net.
Catch the wave!
This is Tom Hartman inviting you to tune into the Tom Hartman program on WHAV every weekday beginning at noon. I'm here 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, taking your calls live and providing all the news you need to know. The Tom Hartman program is your media support group for We the People. Again, please join me weekdays beginning at noon right here on WHAV. Remember, only local radio can bring you this progressive talk opportunity, but only WHAV does.
Wave weather!
I'm WHAV meteorologist Gary Bess with Wave Weather. Mostly cloudy skies will continue across the Merrimack Valley through the night as any showers exit. Low temperatures upper 30s. More showers return Tuesday, 45 to 50. Showers end again Tuesday evening. Wednesday, a mix of clouds and sun, breezy. High temperatures near 50. This is Gary Bess. You're next to Wave Weather coming up in 30 minutes.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, WHAV presents the Open Mic Show with Tim Coco. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900. Or email tcoco@whav.net.
I think a CBP officer and Customs and Border Patrol agent started asking him questions. And he said, I do not have to answer any of your questions. And that went on for a while. So he would say, I do not have to speak to you. But I have the right to remain silent. Could they arrest you? You can ask, am I being detained? Am I in detention? And no, you do not have to answer any questions, but you don't have to detain me. You can also say, if I'm not being detained, do I have the right to leave? And you can leave. You do not have to answer any questions.
Can I just have one comment about the future? One of the things I know I'm going to do now, no shopping in Plastow, no shopping in Salem, no shopping in Nashville.
Oh, I was rolling because I said, what's got in the hunter?
I don't have here is coming to Mass anyway, so that's one way to say to them, you don't like what you're doing, so I'm not doing them.
I'm just somebody's looking at this one.
Okay, somebody else. Kathy, come on up.
As the city of Lawrence become a sanctuary city, and it's so how did it happen, and also you made and how would a city of Haverhill go about becoming a sanctuary city?
Lawrence is one of the communities that has been for some time. And the term sanctuary can be, I think, a little misleading because it sort of implies safety. And sanctuary cities, or whatever you want to call them, it doesn't protect anyone from federal immigration officials. It just means that our local law enforcement, that our local agencies are not going to be conducting immigration business. So in cities and towns across Massachusetts, there have been a range of approaches in the last few months to this, whether it's passing a resolution at a city council or town meeting or an ordinance. The Boston's version is an ordinance, which means that's a force of law. So the Boston police are prohibited, and they report to us annually on the number of requests they've had from the Immigration and Customs Enforcement to detain folks, and they report their response to that. And last year, there were 15 requests, and they did not honor any of them, which is what they're required to do under the law, but it's always nice to see that it's being followed. And but there are also resolutions in support of both the state communities act at the state level that local governing bodies, town councils, city councils can pass. So there's a range of things, and I'm happy to work with anyone here. Like I mentioned earlier, we're working with about a dozen communities now, ranging from activists to elected council members and town meeting members. I'm crafting a version. The version Boston passed is the most progressive version that's passed any legislature in the country. Just there are no exceptions. It basically means if you're arrested for a crime, you're treated the same regardless of your immigration status. But at the bottom line, that's what it is. So we use the example of driving without a license. I didn't have a driver's license, and I get pulled over driving back to Boston tonight. I'll be arrested. I will go through a booking process. You'll see a bail commissioner or a magistrate who will then set bail. And that should be the same for anyone, regardless of their status. So if you're committing a crime, you're going to go through our criminal justice system. But that should be it. It should be the basis of the crime you're accused of, the crime to be convicted of, not your immigration status.
And when it comes to, for example, Lawrence, it's the same as Boston. They just have a trust act, not a sanctuary city, which there are cities around the United States who are specifically sanctuary cities because there is another version of what a trust act is that has the sanctuary city component. I've always considered Lawrence a trust act sanctuary city. I've been in Lawrence for many years, and in immigration, dealing with immigration and with immigrants since 1999 when I worked for Congressman Meehan, I've never had any issues with the local police in Lawrence detaining people merely because they were undocumented. So, and I'm very happy that the current chief also made a public statement regarding that they will not allow people to be dealt with differently just because of their immigration status. But it's really good to hear that the entire area is standing up on this, because I was recently in Lowell, and even though they do not have a trust act, the police have a policy that they've implemented that is more like the trust act as well, how to deal with people who are immigrants in their community. So I think it's important.
Will makes a great point that the police commissioner and police chiefs are some of the strongest components of these policies, because we go back, there have been policies like this around the country dating back decades, and they were because of public safety issues that police felt that if they were going to be effective in communities, they need to be able to engage with people as witnesses, as victims. So while it's such a hot button issue now in law enforcement, I think it's trying not to stand up to the microphone. I wasn't listening to the rules. That it's such a hot button issue and it can get tricky. But as far as a public safety perspective, it makes everyone safer because people are able to come forward. So police chiefs, our commissioner in Boston, well, I would say he was lukewarm at the beginning, has been very supportive since then. And it's been 2.5 years, and I think we feel as safe as ever in the city of Boston.
He was actually speaking on the subject the other day, and he reiterated that, how important it is for people to feel safe. And the superintendent of police Lowell reported that they had a meeting of all the chiefs in Boston of many cities and towns, and they all feel the same way about the fact that their main job is to protect their communities, and immigrants within their communities are among those people that need protection. And if people are afraid to approach the police to deal with issues of domestic violence, for example, that is very prominent in immigrant communities, unfortunately, because we know that the level of domestic violence in Latin American countries is high. So that's very, very important that men and women feel safe to call the police when they are victims of crime. Children feel safe when they are victims of crime. Elderly feel safe when they are victims of crime. So that is a very important issue, and I think I'm glad that the chiefs among all communities in Massachusetts are in agreement that they are going to not be part of, for example, one of the 287G is one of the laws that this administration wants to implement, which is to deputize local law enforcement agents to also be able to enforce immigration laws. So that is one of the things that made me feel really good about this reporting of the superintendent about this issue, how they are not going to be part of this.
They have enough on their plate. I think is what they're feeling is often that they have enough to do to keep people safe rather than enforce federal immigration.
I'm Veronica, and I'm a funders practitioner. And another thing that we're also seeing is a lot of my patients are afraid, and they're being also seen by their employees. Some of them work in the houses, and they're coming in with a lot of anxiety, a lot of blood pressure issues again, because again, they're being abused in a way or manipulated to say that we're going to report to immigration. The other thing I ask of you is there, as the Democratic Committee, is there a place in English and Spanish and in Arabic and all the different languages that is a resource for the immigrants in the state of Massachusetts?
So NARA Coalition is probably the best organization in Massachusetts to look for resources for immigrants. It's a great organization. So I think you can direct people to NARA. They have.
All right, you are listening to a live broadcast of Immigration and Civil Rights from the Haverhill Public Library. Sound quality is not exactly what we had hoped for, but apparently the library sound system was not set up. We're using the best available equipment that we have for this event. Frank Amoa is standing by, but we're going to go back to the Haverhill Public Library after this brief break for Today in Massachusetts History on Mass Moments.
Open mic.
Tim Coco and the Open Mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900 or email tcoco@whav.net. If you are enjoying this program, please consider making a donation right now. Your donations to not-for-profit WHAV help keep these vital community services on the air. Donate online at www.whav.net.
97.9 FM WHAV.
Hi, this is Jim Hightower asking you to listen to my Little Pops of Populism every Tuesday and Thursday right here on 97.9 WHAV. Local radio at its finest. WHAV brings my populist feature to you twice a week. So catch the wave and you'll catch my commentaries.
Today is March 27th. On this day in 1947, Jordan Marsh & Company announced that it was going to build the greatest department store in the world in downtown Boston. Almost 100 years earlier, in 1851, Eben Jordan and Benjamin Marsh had gone into business together. They began by selling linen, silk, and other dry goods to wholesale customers. 10 years later, they expanded into retail sales. After the Civil War, Jordan Marsh introduced the concept of department shopping. The store offered a wide range of goods, personal service, easy credit, art exhibitions, and musical performances. It soon became a treasured part of middle-class life in the Boston area. Many people mourned when the company was sold and the Macy's name went up on Jordan Marsh stores. For more about Jordan Marsh, go online to massmoments.org. This Massachusetts Moment has been brought to you by the Massachusetts Foundation for the Humanities.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin B. Johnson Newsroom, WHAV presents the Open Mic Show with Tim Coco. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900. Or email tcoco@whav.net.
Good evening, everyone. This is Tim Coco here on WHAV's Open Mic Show, 97.9 FM. Now, we're going to return to the Haverhill Public Library, at least until the top of the hour, and see if we can't get a little better sound feed from the building. But it is live radio. That's what local radio is all about, and we work with the limitations we have. A number of callers had asked about hearing what was going on. There was a question about sanctuary cities. I do not believe that is something the city is officially following, but others have suggested it's an informal policy. Maybe we'll find out more when we return. We're going to go now to the Haverhill Public Library. Frank Kamoa is standing by. He's going to bring you the sound as best as we can get it from the Haverhill Public Library Johnson Auditorium.
Our local police ask you what you paid your income taxes when they encounter you and arrest you. We have an IRS for that. We don't have our local police department prosecuting or investigating insider trading in the stock market. There's an SEC. These are federal laws that is their responsibility. I think there are a lot of federal laws that need to be changed and need to be made more progressive and more inclusive. But what we're talking about here is in our community. It is absurd to ask, especially the Republican Party that believes in small government, local government, to ask our local agencies to spend their resources.
And we're adding 10,000 more ICE agents than we believe in small government.
Looks like it isn't too much of a hypocrisy. It's never ending, so we can talk about that all night.
Joe, you had a question.
Policy, making the attorneys tonight. I just have a couple of brief officers. Let's ask you one question. One, Merrimack Valley deals with these immigrants who have come here since the 1800s. Truth be told, I really think that what's the floodlight on this question? Every one of us is in school. I mean, my great-grandparents came from Jackie from Ireland in the 1800s. I don't know how they came here. I really don't. I have no clue if they came. I surely did it. I don't say that they had the right paperwork or not. Who knows? I also know that this state would end up shrinking in size as monster people who come here from around the world year after year after year. But locally, I mean, I'm at a loss as far as I don't think that we can get places where we want to. We could, but are there some grassroots ideas out there that are working that we could have to have?
You mean from grassroots from a policy perspective that maybe it's not?
It could be like petitions, it could be all kinds of things that we could at least take the first few steps. We've taken a couple of small steps so far.
From the same.
Well, for some, take like an action, take driver action.
Yeah. So I will very briefly address that, and then we can move into that. Is that I think the real solution of this is neighbor-to-neighbor conversation, like anything. When we have folks, in a big room or a big crowd, or they're watching it on TV, people get heated, and people are not thinking about, one, that these are people, that these are our neighbors who are being impacted by this. But it's also very hard. It gets pretty intricate. I mean, you have an experienced attorney up here talking about the intricacies of federal immigration law and how it interacts with law enforcement, talking about, the budgetary impact and local law enforcement and constitutional issues. It can be very hard, I think, to get through all the noise if we're not doing this person to person. So in other communities, I think Rockport right now in particular, there's a group of activists there who are going door to door to their neighbors, try and get support for a ballot measure on the local election, or a town meeting warrant. I don't think they've decided yet, to say not even setting the law, just saying it's a resolution. We are going to say we are a community that welcomes everyone. We're not going to target people. Their police already have a similar policy, although it's an administrative policy, not a law. So that's something that people can do anywhere. And I do think a Safe Communities Act at the state level, the governor needs to hear from people. He has been non-committal on this. In fact, he said he would veto it, as he has been, really not taking a stand on many important issues right now. Go back to the transgender public accommodations bill. He ended up signing what was put before him. He wishy-washy for weeks or months, but he signed it when it was put before him. Talking about he didn't even vote in the presidential election. He's someone who needs to take a stand on these things. And I certainly hope that we're all his constituents. My state rep and my state senator are co-sponsors of the Safe Communities Act. I don't have to lobby them. I mean, they know I support it and I encourage people to do that. But we all know constituents, and there's a huge role to play. And there's a huge role to play, most importantly, I think, because in our system of government, the states retain a huge amount of sovereignty and a special standing. I don't want to get too wonky and constitutional law here on you, but when a state says something, it is heard, not just politically, not just symbolically, but you look at the success our attorneys general, our Maura Healey has had, and the other attorneys general in not prosecuting, and I'm pushing some of these cases specifically around the travel ban. They speak with a lot more authority than even any individual plaintiff would. And if a state says it, whether it's Massachusetts, whether it's California, whether it's New York, whether it's more people, it really has a huge impact, both practically and symbolically. We're a nation of 50 states. Each state is supposed to have that authority, and I think we have a governor who needs to use it. It's now or never to stand up. So I hope you'll continue to urge that.
So I want to mention a little bit about the State Drivers Act and I think it's sad, really, that we are such a progressive state and we can get our legislature to have a Safe Drivers Act. I mean, it's so important. Vermont gives driver's licenses to undocumented aliens. Connecticut. These are neighboring states. I mean, what is it with Massachusetts? I think it's just pathetic that, one of the local representatives, I'm not going to mention names, he represents Barack and Lawrence, said, well, because my constituents are very conservative. You have no idea. Then convince them. Talk to them about the reasons why this is a good bill. No, she votes against it. So we have to educate people as to the reasons, because there's so many misconceptions about immigration, unlawful immigrants here in this country. There's so many things that people have it wrong. oh, those immigrants are here to take our jobs. Really? I don't see any U.S. citizen lined up to cut my grass or to change my roof, because those are, like very dangerous and demeaning jobs. So I just don't see it. We are not lined up to do those jobs. So immigration is important to this country. I understand that people are, we shouldn't reward them, we shouldn't this, we shouldn't that. Is it really rewarding them, or is it looking at safety issues? Should we be worried about people driving without a license? We should be, right? So, and it's better for our communities to have people with driver's licenses who are being monitored in their driving. People have to pay to get a driver's license. You know what I'm saying? So it's better for the state in all the sense of the word for them to have driver's license. Did that answer your question? No.
And I think
no, of course it's not.
And Bill just informed me that Representative Matias is not going to make it, so I wanted to just give a quick little summary of the Safe Communities Act and why I think it's so important. So just briefly, the Safe Communities Act is essentially a trust act for the state. It would prohibit the state police, corrections department, sheriff's departments, and we have some somewhat notorious sheriffs in the Commonwealth who are talking about not just enforcing immigration law, but sending their inmates down to build this wall on the Mexican border, which is outrageous. But it would prevent that, and it goes further. Like I said earlier, it prevents any state resources, including the RMB, including educational resources and information, from being used for the creation of any so-called federal registry of immigrants, of people based on religion or ethnicity. And I think it's incredibly important. It's S1305, the Senate bill number. It's in a conference committee. I think 3269 is the House bill. But as I tell people, everyone's going to know if you call the Safe Communities is our first lobbyist.
Tim Coco here on the Open Mic. We have been broadcasting live from the Haverhill Public Library, where the Haverhill Democratic City Committee is sponsoring a forum called Immigration and Civil Rights. We're going to take a break now for local and national news and local weather. And then we're going to go back probably briefly to the Haverhill Public Library, where WHAV's Frank Camola is standing by with a question. But let's first go to local news, and we'll be back. Thank you.
Tim Coco and the Open Mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900 or email tcoco@whav.net. If you are enjoying this program, please consider making a donation right now. Your donations to not-for-profit WHAV help keep these vital community services on the air. Donate online at www.whav.net.
It's 8:04.
WHAV LP Haverhill.
Here's what's happening in local news. Two women, a 19-year-old from Haverhill and a 20-year-old from Sandown, New Hampshire, are listed in stable condition with serious injuries after a drive-by shooting in Lawrence late Saturday night. The victims, who had not been identified as of news deadline, were struck while sitting in a parked car on Berkeley Street in Lawrence. They fled to a commercial building on Swan Street, Methuen, following the 10:43 p.m. shooting. The Haverhill woman was shot once in the head and airlifted to a Boston hospital, while the other was shot in the leg and taken to a local hospital by ambulance, according to Lawrence Police Chief James Fitzpatrick. Police said a man wearing a ski mask and gray hooded sweatshirt and driving a silver BMW four-door sedan pulled up to a parked car and opened fire. Detectives do not consider the incident a random act of violence. Methuen police responded once the woman entered that city. Anyone with information or witnessed anything suspicious in the area at the time of the shooting are asked to call Lawrence Police at 978-794-5900. Haverhill Police Officer Guy Cooper was among those honored Friday night during the Valley Patriot newspaper's 13th annual bash. Cooper, accompanied by Haverhill Police Chief Alan Denaro, received the Officer Tom Duggan Sr. Law Enforcement Award for helping to save a woman who jumped into the Merrimack River last November. During the award presentation, Essex County Sheriff Kevin Coppinger read from Denaro's report of a woman who jumped into the river. Observing the difficulty facing Harbor Master Michael Vetz, Officer Cooper waded into the frigid waters to assist with getting the victim on the boat and ultimately back on shore and into an awaiting ambulance. During an appearance before the Haverhill City Council last December, Denaro praised Cooper and Vetz.
The officers acted as we would want them to act, as we want them to protect us and to be there, and they were. And especially when it comes to going into the Merrimack in the middle of November, I call that above and beyond. And you know, I'm very proud and I'm impressed with the actions of both of these individuals, and I felt that it merited notifying the public as well as this council of the caliber of people that we have that protect us, serve us, and are out there guarding us on a daily basis.
Methuen Fire Chief Timothy Sheehy was also presented with an award for his work helping families displaced by fire last Christmas. In one instance, out of many stories, Sheehy drove a victim to a shopping center to buy shoes. The awards are named in honor of Lawrence Police Officer Duggan, who died in the line of duty March 16, 1990, 3 days after being attacked by two men, one of whom struck him with a metal softball bat. He was 47 years old. Duggan was the father of Valley Patriot publisher Tom Duggan. A Groveland Reserve police officer was placed on administrative leave after allegedly falling asleep in his cruiser Thursday. Deputy Chief Jeffrey Gillen reported Friday the department received a photograph and video of the officer who appeared to be asleep. The officer was not officially identified, but Gillen said the officer was hired about 1.5 years ago. We take this matter very seriously and will conduct a thorough investigation, the deputy said. This is a personnel matter and we are limited in what we can discuss, but we will make the results of this investigation public as the law allows. The officer was said to have fallen asleep behind the wheel of the cruiser at an intersection in Groveland. Governor Charlie Baker and Haverhill Mayor James Fiorentini traded jokes Friday about going into the shoe business together. The live social media discussion was prompted by a photograph taken by the city's Transformative Development Initiative fellow Noah Koretz. The photograph showed the Fiorentini and Baker shoe store in Los Angeles. In the spirit of bipartisanship, Governor Baker and I have decided to open a new business, Fiorentini joked in a Facebook post using Koretz's photograph. To the mayor's surprise, Baker quickly responded, "This is really something. I had no idea the mayor and I were in the fashion business." Following the live chat, Fiorentini told WHAV he didn't expect the governor's response. "It was good humor and good to see. Government needs more of that," the mayor said. He added, "When you put aside your differences and look for common solutions, lighten up and laugh, amazing things are possible. I hope Washington is listening." The banter between the Republican governor and Democratic mayor wasn't lost on resident Lou Carboni. He joined the chat joking, "Fiorentini makes the left shoes, Baker the right." The governor responded, "Good one, Lou." Remember, WHAV is the only Haverhill-based news source. There's always more at WHAV.net. In the Edwin V. Johnson newsroom, this is Tim Coco.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Rebecca Foster. Over 120 countries are getting together at the United Nations for the first ever talks aimed at a global ban on nuclear weapons. The conference comes even as most of the world's declared and undeclared nuclear powers voted against the talks, saying they cannot put nuclear deterrence in jeopardy. Our United Nations correspondent Lorna Shattuck reports.
The countries leading the talks include Mexico, Brazil, South Africa and Sweden, along with hundreds of NGOs. They point to the success of negotiations to ban landmines in 1997 and cluster munitions in 2008, saying such international efforts do bear fruit and bring moral pressure to bear even on those who don't sign up. Britain, France, Israel, Russia, Japan and the US voted against the talks, while China, India and Pakistan abstained. US Ambassador Nikki Haley said such a treaty would empower rogue states like North Korea.
We have to be realistic. Is there anyone that believes that North Korea would agree to a ban on nuclear weapons.
The first phase of the talks ends in July. Lorna Shattuck, New York.
A court in Moscow has sentenced Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny to 15 days in prison, saying he disobeyed a police officer during an anti-government protest. Mr. Navalny was also fined about $350 earlier on Monday for his role in organizing the protest, which authorities said was illegal. A U.S.-backed force of Kurdish and Arab fighters has taken control of an airbase west of the city of Raqqa, Syria, a stronghold of the so-called Islamic State. They've reportedly said they'll pause military operations near a major dam in the area in order to allow engineers to fix any problems amid concerns about its stability and potential flooding. Apple has won a patent battle in China, meaning it will not be banned from selling iPhones in the country. Chinese company Bailey had argued the American tech giant had copied its design. Our U.S. correspondent Nick Harper reports.
The court's decision overturns an earlier ruling against Apple that would have meant a complete ban on it selling its iPhone 6. Bailey had filed a case with China's patent regulator, saying that Apple's iconic phone had borrowed design elements of its own 100C smartphone. However, a court has reversed that decision, saying Apple's iPhone 6 has not infringed on Bailey's design. The court, though, denied a counter-motion by Apple to punish the Chinese company by taking away its 100C patent. Apple is battling fierce competition from homegrown brands in China, especially from the likes of Huawei and Xiaomi. Nick Harper, New York.
For more on the day's top stories, you can follow us on Twitter at Feature Story. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Wave weather.
I'm WHAV meteorologist Gary Bess with wave weather. Mostly cloudy skies will continue across the Merrimack Valley through the night as any showers exit. Low temperatures upper 30s. More showers return Tuesday, 45 to 50. Showers in again Tuesday evening. Wednesday, a mix of clouds and sun, breezy. High temperatures near 50. This is Gary Bess. You're next to wave weather coming up in 30 minutes.
Your membership enables WHAV to remain local and independent. Consider joining at WHAV.net. 97.9 FM WHAV.
Catch the wave, WHAV. Merrimack Valley. Open mic.
From the Edwin B. Johnson Newsroom, WHAV presents the Open Mic Show with Tim Coco. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900. Or email tcoco at whav.net.
Welcome back to the Open Mic Show on 97.9 FM WHAV. We have been broadcasting live from the Haverhill Public Library. We're probably going to go back there during this time where I think there's some questions and answers out there. But I just want to remind you, we're going to be drawing the April birthday and anniversary cake contest in a few minutes. We'll try to work in any last calls. So if you want to nominate an individual to win the birthday cake for having an April birthday, or a couple for having an anniversary in April, call now, 978-374-1900. If we don't get you on the air, that won't work against you this time. Normally prize winners have to go on the air. But Chris will take the information and we'll still do the drawing. Let's see. We're going to, without giving much warning to our correspondent at the library, we're going to go join them live and tune in for a little eavesdropping, and then we'll see how that goes.
Are trying to put a resolution to such as Boston, the Trust Act. Quincy, there's a lot of communities doing this, and I think it's better to have something formalized than something informal. That is my opinion.
Yeah, Kathy, right. Yeah. So I would agree, and Zoila said that it's much better from the effectiveness standpoint, from this has the force of law standpoint, from a you can literally trust us standpoint. But you raise very real concerns that when things like this are proposed, and I don't know what the general climate is outside this room in your community, it gets people stirred up. And I think that's something that the folks who are working on this in Rockport have found, and that's why they're launching, a real grassroots. They're talking about having coffee hours and going door to door to explain to people. And like I said before, this should not be a partisan issue. This should not be liberal, social justice, whatever, the pejorative they like to call us, issue versus conservative, law and order. This is not. This includes public safety. It's fiscally responsible for our cities and towns. And it just basically says we're going to comply with the Constitution, the Fourth Amendment. I mean, that you're not supposed to be detaining people for these reasons. And there have been courts in other parts of the country. The Supreme Judicial Court actually is going to be ruling on this in 2 months, I believe, on whether the police department, so it could make the Safe Communities Act moot, to be honest. Whether it's even possible under the Mass Constitution. But there have been federal courts in other parts of the country that have said this is a violation of the Fourth Amendment if you're detaining people just because some nameless, faceless immigration enforcement agent believes they may be here without documentation. And they've awarded significant damages. It's a real fiscal responsibility issue for cities and towns that I think they're the winning argument, but the groundwork has to be laid. And to be honest, I think we would have gotten it passed if we'd done this in Boston more recently, but it would have been much more fiery. I got plenty of nasty messages about that, and I still occasionally do. There's one gentleman who likes to keep talking to me via Twitter about this issue, and there are others. But it is something that I think is a real challenge, given, again, the president's leadership on this issue is to be nasty to little people, to demean people, to other people, and that trickles down. So, your caution is, I think, taken well, but it can certainly be done.
I'm Frank Kamola from WHAV, and I think there's quite a bit of misunderstanding about how employed illegal immigrants are required to pay income taxes, but at the same time are not eligible for a lot of the benefits that ordinary citizens would receive as a taxpayer. And I wondered if either or both of you could explain to me that.
So I will say that, again, these are estimates because it's a hard population to really keep track of, but estimates are that undocumented people contribute $9 billion a year to our Social Security fund because they are working, they're paying payroll taxes, and they will not be eligible for that. Obviously, regardless of your documentation, people are paying real estate taxes, whether it's because they own property, because it's the pass-through for the rent that they're paying. People pay sales tax. They, from what I can tell, are paying as much taxes as the president has been. I mean, probably more on an individual basis. So, yeah. But that's a really good point, because we often hear in the rhetoric that folks aren't paying their fair share, but in fact they are. And when it comes to the federal payroll taxes, they're not getting anything back either.
And they're not getting any benefits. So I say, from my own experience, most of my clients pay taxes. I encourage them. A lot of them come to my office already having a tax ID and paying taxes based on their income on that tax ID. Some of them pay, even when they get paid cash, they feel a responsibility to pay taxes based on whatever tax they earn. Most of them, especially if they work in restaurants and earn tips, they're paying taxes based on their tips. So if most of my clients are paying taxes, this means then that most of undocumented aliens in this country are paying taxes. And it's unfortunate that there's so much misunderstanding about undocumented aliens and what they contribute, and nothing in return, because they're not eligible for any benefits, any public benefits. I think in Massachusetts is one of the very few states in which they get some type of health care based on the fact that Massachusetts is more takes care of her a little bit more, and people's health is important in this state. and they get a little bit of, I think, free care because of when they're really, really sick, and medical benefits cannot be denied to people, period. But very, very little benefits they get for what they contribute.
Yeah, also, despite the fact that they don't have the right to vote.
Well, not unless you're a U.S. citizen. Only U.S. citizens have the right to vote.
Right.
So we're here only talking about documented, but lawful permanent residents in the United States do have more rights to certain benefits, and they are also subject to deportation when they commit crimes.
Because I know that I look at people sometimes, and these Irish people, we have to go through the whole I-9 process. To check all their documentation and to be hired. And I also believe that instead of registry where I check them, if I was totally fine. So these employers that are, aren't they breaking the law?
They are.
Let me just finish my thought here.
They are.
So the point, when I think about this issue, if we say to people who, because there's no way to get out of it, there's a way that you can check it right. But you can't say, oh, I made a mistake, or oh, I don't, because I have people say this too. Oh, I'm not an expert on documentation. I can't tell. And I'm like, yeah, there's a way to tell. So if we approach it saying, instead of going after the poor people, go after these people that are making money off of them, and you're caught employing these people. $10 million fine, 5 years.
They are already in trouble. So a lot of employers get in trouble for hiring undocumented aliens, but the government doesn't go against. They don't go after the little people because it takes a lot of resources. So that all you need are a couple of people, kind of, that instead of force the issue that we need these people. And that's force the issue for immigration and getting a policy of guest workers like they have in Europe. So I don't understand why we're in farming states, the farmers are crying about this and how much they're being hurt by this policy. And not this is not new. This thing's happening, especially in Georgia, Florida, California. These are states that have been hurt by the policies of immigration and the fact that it's so hard for them to have labor to employ in their farms. And
yeah. I think to your point.
This is WHAV. I'm Tim Coco in the Edwin V. Johnson newsroom, and this has been the open. We're going to break away now from the forum, Immigration and Civil Rights, coming from the Haverhill Public Library live. One of the last questions you heard was posed by Frank Camola at WHAV. We have about 7 minutes left. We're going to draw the birthday and anniversary cake winner right now. I have the hat, and we'll do that. And then we'll spend the rest of the time taking your calls and questions. Perhaps you want to offer your comment on the Immigration and Civil Rights Forum. But let's take a name out of the hat, and this person is going to win a free 7-inch cake from Albide's Second Generation Italian Bakery, 140 South Main Street. And it looks like Cheryl of Bradford has won the birthday, which was a birthday wish for the cake. So Cheryl, you'll be getting a letter in the mail from WHAV. It'll explain just what number to dial for Albide's. Then you decide whether you want vanilla or chocolate. They'll bake the cake fresh for you, and then you go to pick it up and you present the letter from WHAV as sort of your proof of winning. So we're going to mark this as such. All right, let's open the phone lines. I want you to call right away because we're down about 6 minutes. While you're dialing the phone, 978-374-1900. Chris mic away for Community Spotlight, and hopefully we'll have you queued up on the other side.
Open mic.
Tim Coco and the Open Mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900 or email tcoco@whav.net. If you are enjoying this program, please consider making a donation right now. Your donations to not-for-profit WHAV help keep these vital community services on the air. Donate online at www.whav.net.
For live and local talk, listen to The Open Mic Show, Monday nights. You can also see the program at whav.tv. WHAV, the only Haverhill-based news source, and it's always free.
Catch the wave.
Every week on Making Contact, you'll hear voices from the United States and around the globe speaking on issues vital to all of us.
We report on economic, political, and social trends.
We also look at the issues that drive popular movements globally.
You can hear Making Contact on this non-commercial radio station.
Making Contact, Sunday mornings at 7 on 97.9 WHAV.
Community Spotlight.
If you have questions about Medicare options and benefits, Shine, serving the health insurance needs of everyone, may provide answers. Shine is a source of free, accurate, and unbiased information regarding insurance and healthcare options. In Haverhill, the program is administered by the Massachusetts Executive Office of Elder Affairs in partnership with the Haverhill Council on Aging, 10 Welcome Street. Appointments with a certified Shine counselor may be made by calling Wendy at 978-374-2390, extension. Someone you know is on WHAV. To submit or read your own nonprofit announcements, click on the Contact tab at whav.net or email news@whav.net. In the Edwin B. Johnson Newsroom, this is Diane Carr.
WHAV. Open mic.
From the Edwin B. Johnson Newsroom, WHAV presents The Open Mic Show with Tim Coco. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900. Or email tcoco@whav.net.
Welcome back to the Open Mic Show. I'm Tim Coco. Again, special thanks to Driver and Chris Porter in Master Control. Held down the fort while we brought you the best that we could from Haverhill Public Library. Apparently, from my understanding, may have been some kind of confusion between the library and the Haverhill Democratic City Committee, and my understanding is there was no equipment ready for them to use, such as loudspeakers and so on. We did the best we could with what we had on hand. But if you'd like to call, we've got a couple minutes left, 978-374-1900. Otherwise, I'm going to remind you that there is a trivia question. You might want to get ready for next week's broadcast. To win a $10 gift certificate to Kimball Tavern Antiques, corner of Salem and South Main Streets, answer this question, or be the first to answer this question. A man lived on Lowell Avenue just before Street, and he had hundreds of hubcaps some years ago. He even had them on his house. He collected them. Name the man and his nickname, and you could win the $10 gift certificate to Kimball Tavern Antiques. All right. I would say, Chris, if this is a caller, we'll put them on the air first and then deal with getting names later. All right. You are on the Open Mic Show.
Hello.
Yes, you're on the Open Mic.
I'm on a roll.
Oh, was Cheryl one of your nominees?
Yep.
All right, so this is Brian. What you want to do, folks, is somehow get to know Brian. He'll put your name into the birthday contest, and your odds of winning apparently improve 700-fold.
Well, yeah, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
I know you had some dry periods in there, too.
Yes.
All right, but this time Cheryl won for her birthday, and she'll be getting a letter from WHAV.
And I'm going to let her know that.
All right. Now, Brian, were you listening to the broadcast? Was that understandable from Haverhill Public Library?
I had a hard time getting a lot of it.
Yeah, that's my fear was there was no loudspeaker in the room, and we were hoping to...
They told Frank to lower his voice as it was, so...
Oh, you heard them say that?
No, I heard Frank say that.
Oh, I meant, okay, when was that, on the air?
Yeah.
All right. All right, so much for
That's why
that.
he couldn't talk very loud when he was talking, to you in the studio. So, if they had said that to me, I would have said, "How is this?"
Well, I have to tell you, and I'm not trying to, suggest people change what they're doing, but it seems to me they had a greater opportunity for getting information out and publicity while there was a radio station present than they did with, the 4 or 5 people that might have been in the room. But,
And Bill mentioned, that WHAV was hooked in and all that, so.
Well, there's always a few activists on either side that perhaps we just wanted to make sure they got more time for what they wanted to say or do. But, this is a warning, I think, to both liberals and conservatives, to Democrats and Republicans, to libertarians, and whatever else is out there. If you preach to your own choir, well, okay, all of you can do the rah-rah. Whatever your opinion is, all of you can do the rah-rah. But if you really want to make a difference, no matter what your viewpoint is, you need to reach the masses. And I think events like this really just call out associated with one side of the issue or the other. What I was not able to determine is whether or not people with alternative views had a chance to ask questions. And I don't know what those alternatives are, by the way, because I'm not really sure I understood fully what the format was. I don't think the participants did either. But that's something that all of us can look at on another day. I think we are out of time, judging by the fact that we've been cut off the television. But we'll regroup next week, figure out what's happened, and we'll start the May birthdays and anniversaries. Brian, I'm sure you're going to kick it off, making a list. People are sending you cards. We'll see. But maybe you want to try answering the trivia question for Kimball Tavern Antiques.
Well, that, I know already that I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I didn't even know about the nickname Geezer until Officer Dave mentioned it, so.
All right. Well, there's some debate here, as there always is on these questions, whether it was that name or one close to it for the nickname. But Rod Wood, Kimball Tavern Antiques, did suggest that there was a little room for negotiation, as there always is. So we'll see how that goes. But Brian, thank you very much for kicking off April birthdays. We expect that you'll kick off May next week.
I'll give it a try.
All right, thanks so much.
You have a good night.
You too. All right, that's going to do it for the Open Mic Show. One of our stranger editions. Tried to pull off something that people obviously weren't ready for. We'll try again. That's the nature of local live radio. Sometimes you work with what you have. You do the best you can. Certainly, we'd love to have some of that fancy remote microwave equipment. You can help contribute to WHAV's capital funds called Make Waves. We're going to call it Phase 2. Tom Bergeron, who got a start here in 1972 as the honorary chairperson. You're going to learn more about Make Waves Phase 2 next week. We'll see you then.
Open mic.
Join Tim Coco live on the Open Mic again next Monday night at 6:30. The opinions expressed on the Open Mic Show are not necessarily those of WHAV, its underwriters, or affiliated stations. The Open Mic Show came to you from the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom.
It's 8:35.
This spot could have been yours. Support WHAV's local approach with your underwriting. Go to WHAV.net and click on advertising to reach thousands of new customers.
Catch the wave.
On air or online, 97.9 WHAV serves you. Twice an hour weekdays, keep up to date with exclusive local news. Find out more about civic events on Community Spotlight every quarter hour and better prepare with wave weather every 30 minutes. For talk, there's Tom Hartman weekdays at noon and the Open Mic Show Monday nights. Mass Moments, Melinda